How do you feel about all of the crazy lockdowns in Australia and just how it's been going for them over there in the last like year and a half?
Australia breaks my heart, which is I never expected that my home country would actually be the thing that made me the most sad. But I look back and I mean, like they just had a snap 5-day lockdown in my home city because of one COVID case.
What? So that doesn't make any sense.
It's don't even start me on this. I mean, my brother was like sending me photos of the checkpoints that they had back at the height of all of this. And I mean, the fact of the matter is Australia is a bloody island with a natural wall being the ocean. And you mean to tell me that you treat the population like slaves when in fact the politicians could easily have ameliorated all of this and done the right thing from the outset. It's like New Zealand, for example, where people are like, oh, but there's no COVID in New Zealand. Yeah, but you can't go anywhere. Your borders are closed. And for how long? How long can you be an island nation that has no other people coming in? For how long? I need an answer here. You know, it's just like these people live in this different reality where it's like, so you don't want to travel again? Cool. All right. Sweet.
How do you think Australia like really fucked up how they handled things in the last year?
Well, I mean, like for starters, they had a really great blueprint of what it looked like from other countries who were in wintertime going through this, because obviously the seasons are opposite. Right. So like when we were in June and everything was like heightened and hectic, Australia was the other way around. When this all kicked off, in, you know, November, December, etc. I mean, we were in wintertime. Australia was in summertime. So they were sort of seeing like what the rates would look like, all this sort of stuff, because naturally people get more sick during the colder months. And so, but they did nothing. They didn't put anything in place to safeguard themselves. I mean, they should have closed the borders reasonably early on. Not that I'm pro where the borders are at now, because you can't even go back. Well, I could go back, but I'd probably get trapped there, which would suck. But I mean, I was just like, Australia, what are you doing? Especially my home state. Oh my God, it would make your blood boil if you read what the premier there was doing, because he's just a giant butthole. I don't know how else to put it. The guy's a butthole.
Is he like being seen out at fancy restaurants, like our governors, or being caught like without a mask after they're like, everyone's got to wear one?
No, thankfully, well, not thankfully, but you know, I think he's actually not that I'm aware of. But I think that someone in his family was sick and he was able to go and visit them or something like that when no one else was actually allowed to go and see family members that were dying and whatnot. So I think that he did. And well, he also gave himself a pay raise during the pandemic, which I think is just remarkable. Wow. Extended all of his emergency powers. And so my family, because obviously they're quite political, quite right-wing, they were all texting in our group chat about how they think the snap lockdown is in relation to the fact that the state of emergency that was put into place that gives this premier more powers was coming to an end in the next couple of days.
Wow, that makes sense.
Yeah, I know it's very boring for people who are outside of Australia, but just realizing how few rights Aussies actually have when it comes to the crunch and how much they don't give a crap about the constitution in Australia, which, mind you, doesn't actually safeguard Aussies really in any capacity. There's only 5 rights that are explicitly stated in our constitution. But still, I mean, think about it. You want
what
to
are they?
So you have the freedom of religion, of movement between the states. So you can go and move to another state if you want to. You're getting me.
I'll look it up. I'll put it. If you ask me what's all in like the U.S. Bill of Rights, I couldn't tell you shit. So
yeah, I should know these. There's only 5 of them. They're easy to remember. In my defense, I'm having a pudding day. And my brain
is there I think what I was getting, is there a freedom of speech in Australia?
It's implied. It's implied in the Constitution, but not explicit. Yeah. So I mean, people don't realize that we don't have an explicit free speech. We don't have an explicit. Oh, I think we have freedom of the press. That actually might be one of them. But no free speech. Obviously, no right to guns or anything like that. Because we're basically a British colony. I mean, wow. The Queen's still our head of state, and look at how England's going. England doesn't give its people any rights.
Wow.
Like, just kidding. Get back in the bin.
Freedom to have a koala as a pet. They're very angry. Exactly. Like if they're on the ground, I've seen a lot of videos.
They scream at you for sure, and then they've got these little claws, and they're very creepy looking. And they're yeah.
So it sounds like you were raised, your family all kind of agreed, so eye to eye on politics. Do you attribute some of your like political leanings or your thoughts or really your intellectual curiosity to how they raised you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think my mom is one of the most brilliant people I know. She's very well read, very well spoken. And dad's much the same, but dad's more business orientated. So I think I'm thankful because I got a really good mashup of both of my parents being very questioning of things and what is this, what's that. And my house was always full of books. So if I ever needed to know anything or read anything, it was just a matter of going to the bookshelf and picking one out and going, okay, well, I'm going to read this instead. So yeah, I mean, I think that I went through a period there where my parents were perhaps more right wing than I was. And then now I feel like we're all sort of in the same league with each other. But I mean, politics wasn't like a huge part of my childhood. It's not like my parents were taking me to rallies and things. It was just this unspoken thing, not even unspoken. It was just this think what you think and we'll all discuss it because we're all very volatile people. You know, at the dinner table, it's like, you know, don't get a plate thrown at your face, but it might happen if you say the wrong thing. And I grew up in this environment where it's like ideas were more important than anything else. And so I think I'm really lucky. I love my parents. They're great people.
No, that's great. That sounds like the best of both worlds there.
Not the plate throwing, of course. That's
plate throwing. Yeah. Hey, my dad threw a chair at me once. So
did it hit you though?
No, he missed. He missed. Okay. So I think it was just a warning. Yeah. Watch it, bitch. I was 8. I was like, I'm too fast.